snow fell in sharp, biting flurries, flakes whipped sideways by a fierce wind that sliced through Willow Creek, stinging the skin of anyone brave enough to be outside. Sheriff Hayes felt each gust like a reprimand as he stepped back into the station after Ryan's plunge into the river. It was supposed to be over. At least the worst of it was meant to be behind them. But the river had swallowed Ryan too quietly, too eagerly, as if it had been waiting for him. Inside the station, the fluorescent lights buzzed weakly overhead. The warmth from the heater felt almost fake, as if it didn't belong in this atmosphere thick with tension. Deputy Ward paced back and forth, shaking off melting snowflakes from her coat. She moved with the frantic energy of someone trying to escape a dawning realization. Hayes stood still, rooted in front of the evidence board, the same board he'd been staring at for weeks. But now the arrangement of photos, sticky notes, and red strings felt all wrong, off, like a crossword puzzle with one misplaced word that makes the whole thing fall apart. Amber's school portrait, the Cordell home, Ryan's surveillance footprints, the crude hand-drawn map Amber had tucked away in her notebook, the first cassette, the torn yellow tape pulled from the river. Just fragments, only fragments. Hayes swallowed hard. "Deputy, we're missing something." Ward halted her pacing. "We've been missing something for weeks." Hayes brushed off her tone and reached for Amber's notebook again, flipping through pages he'd already memorized. Her class notes, sketches, doodles crossed out, and a fragment of a poem she'd been working on. All the little pieces of a teenage mind trying to find its balance. But tonight a page he hadn't noticed before slipped loose, folded twice, and pressed inside the back cover as if Amber had wanted to keep it hidden. He unfolded it, a torn sheet of school stationery with 4 words scrawled in small, hurried handwriting. The place where it began. Hayes stared at the sentence until its meaning snapped into focus. Ryan had told him to listen to the rest of the tape. She was certain this clue was out there. He was determined to find it, and if Ryan was set on finding it, then the location had to mean something. It wasn't just a random spot. Ward squinted, his curiosity piqued. "Sheriff, you look like you've just seen a ghost." Hayes shut his notebook with a snap. "I know where the last tape is." He grabbed his coat, ready to go. Ward hurried after him. "So where exactly are we headed?" Hayes didn't respond. It wasn't that he didn't want to share. Saying it out loud would give the place too much significance. He pushed through the station doors and stepped into the biting cold, letting his instincts lead the way. They walked past darkened shops and empty holiday displays. The diner's neon sign buzzed erratically, flickering between open and closed as if it couldn't make up its mind. Christmas lights strung across porches blinked slowly, fighting against the storm's chill. Hayes kept moving. Ward finally caught up, nearly losing his footing on the slick sidewalk. "Sheriff, could you please just once tell me why we recharging into a blizzard instead of calling for backup?" "Because backup doesn't know what Ryan knew," Hayes replied softly. He gestured ahead. Through the swirling snow, a massive building loomed into view. With each step, its outline became clearer. Broad brick walls, dark windows, and a vacant parking lot blanketed in snow. Ashford High School. Ward blinked in disbelief. "The school? You really think the tape is here?" "Not think," Hayes muttered. "I know." He pushed open the front doors, the hinges creaking in protest as they echoed through the empty hallways. The school felt eerie at night. Too quiet, too frozen in time. The heavy silence pressed down like dust over forgotten memories. The air carried a faint scent of cold metal and chalk. Their flashlight beams danced across trophy cases and student art displays. Snowmelt dripped from their coats, forming puddles on the shiny floor. Ward tightened her grip on the flashlight, her voice trembling slightly. "Sheriff, this place is seriously creeping me out." "It's the memories," Hayes replied, his tone heavy with understanding. "Places like this hold on to them. What kind of memories could Amber and Ryan have here?" Hayes paused at the end of the hallway, his expression turning somber. "The kind that cling on and never let go." He guided her toward the older section of the school, the music department, a space that had mostly fallen into disuse, now just a storage area. The old posters plastered on the walls, winter concert, acoustic auditions, choir tryouts, were faded and curling at the edges, like nostalgia left to decay. Then Hayes spotted it. Tacked to the bulletin board at the entrance of the music room was a small envelope. His name was scrawled across the front. The handwriting was unmistakable. He carefully pulled the envelope free, half expecting it to disappear the moment he touched it. Inside he found a cassette tape labeled simply 2. Ward looked as if she just swallowed her heart. "This is it." "Sheriff, this is the tape Ryan talked about." Hayes quickly scanned the room for a cassette deck. Schools always had old equipment tucked away somewhere, buried under layers of neglect. Sure enough, the storage room behind the stage held a dusty portable recorder, covered in a thin layer of dust. He slid the cassette into place. Hayes hesitated, his thumb hovering over the play button. Ward whispered, "Sheriff, once we hear this, there's no going back. That's the idea," Hayes replied. He pressed play. A soft, static hiss filled the air, followed by the faint hum of a cheap microphone, picking up someone's breath. Then Ryan's voice came through, quiet and steady, too calm for someone who had only minutes left to live. "Sheriff Hayes, if you're hearing this, then I'm gone." Ward took a step back, her eyes wide. Hayes remained still, unblinking. Ryan's voice continued, smoothing into a sorrowful clarity. "You won't find Amber where you think. You've been looking in all the wrong places, following the wrong leads, believing I took her, believing I hurt her." Ward's jaw tightened. "You hurt her. You stalked her." Hayes raised a hand, signaling her to keep quiet. Ryan's breath crackled through the audio. "You think I'm the reason she vanished, but you don't get what she was running from." Ward shook her head in disbelief. "Unbelievable. He's just deflecting." Hayes stayed silent. There was something in Ryan's tone that drew him deeper into the recording, like a confession unraveling in reverse. "Amber came to me that night. She didn't want to go home. She didn't want to see them. She was scared." Ward scoffed. "Scared of who?" Ryan answered her silence through the speaker. "Her parents." A chill settled in Hayes's chest. Ryan's voice dropped to a shaky whisper. "She told me her dad was angry. She said she felt trapped. She said she needed help. She begged me not to tell anyone." Hayes's breathing slowed. He had missed something small but significant. Ryan continued, "I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was giving her space, but when she didn't reach out, I realized she wasn't running anymore. Someone caught her." Another pause, a long one. "Then, if you want to know who took Amber Cordell, don't look at me." Ward leaned in closer, her flashlight shaking in her hand. "Look at her father." The tape clicked off, ending abruptly. Ward staggered back. "He's lying. He has to be lying." Hayes didn't reply, because deep down, beneath weeks of searching and hours of interviews, something shifted. Something that had been tucked away under grief now strained to break free. The vigil, Amber's father. The way he stood there, not crying, not broken, just watching. Too quietly, too carefully. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the far end of the hallway, metal clashing, as if a door had slammed shut. Ward jumped. "Sheriff, someone else is here." Hayes raised his hand. "Listen." Footsteps echoed through the hallway, slow, soft, purposeful. Then came a voice, female, trembling. "Sheriff Hayes?" Ward froze in place. Hayes's heart raced. The voice called out again, now closer. I need help." Ward whispered, "Sheriff, that sounds like—" Hayes couldn't bring himself to finish that thought. The voice floated from a half-open janitor's closet door. "Sheriff, please, find me." Ward fumbled for her weapon. "We're not going in there without backup." But Hayes didn't listen. He took a step toward the door. His hand gripped the knob. He turned it. He yanked the door open. The closet was empty. Completely empty. No footprints on the floor. No signs of disturbance in the dust. Just a single folded note lying on the ground. Hayes bent down to pick it up. The handwriting matched the earlier note. "You're still looking in the wrong place." Ward swallowed hard. "Sheriff, what's going on?" Hayes remained silent, because the voice they had heard, the one calling for help, the voice that sounded so much like Amber, had changed at the last moment. It flattened. It smoothed out. It morphed into a tone he recognized all too well. The tone of a boy who had spent years imitating Amber's voice, Ryan, perfectly mimicking her. The hallway suddenly felt constricting. The air felt thin. Ward stared at Hayes, eyes wide. "Sheriff, what if Amber never left Willow Creek?" Hayes let that question linger in the dim hallway. Because if Amber hadn't left, then someone else had taken her. Someone close. Someone trusted. Someone no one dared to question. "Deputy," Hayes whispered, "we need to rethink everything we assumed." "And her father?" Ward asked. Hayes didn't respond, but the silence spoke volumes. The darkness at the end of the hallway seemed to shift, almost as if it were listening. The school hallway remained silent for a heavy, lingering moment. A moment that seemed too long, as if it were being stretched by something unseen. Ward and Hayes stood frozen under the beam of their flashlights, still staring at the empty janitor's closet, the one that had echoed with a voice that should not have existed. Ward pointed her flashlight back down the hallway. "Sheriff, we need backup. Now, whatever's happening here, this is beyond—" "No," Hayes cut in. "Backup won't understand what they're walking into. What we're walking into," Ward corrected. "Sheriff, if Amber is alive or if someone wants us to think she is, then this is a trap." Hayes didn't deny it. "But it's a trap with answers." They left the closet behind, but the sense of being watched followed them through the school's dark arteries. Every footstep echoed back too loudly. Every shift of the building felt like someone breathing. Ward's voice trembled. "Sheriff, do you really think Amber's father could be involved?" Everything we saw, he looked devastated. Hayes exhaled slowly. Grief displays differently in everyone. But some displays aren't grief at all, they're performance. Ward stopped walking. What do you mean? Hayes didn't turn. Something he said. Something I dismissed. She waited. He told me he knew Amber was still alive. Ward furrowed her brow. Sheriff, a lot of parents say that. No, Hayes said. He said it with certainty. Not hope, certainty. A silence fell between them, uncomfortable, tight. But then, he added, he quickly corrected himself. Said he felt she was alive. As if he realized he revealed too much. Ward swallowed. You think he knew where she was all along? I think he knew something the rest of us didn't. Ward looked away, shaking her head. We need more than that. We have more now, Hayes said, lifting the note found on the closet floor. You're still looking in the wrong place. Ward leaned in. Sheriff, that handwriting, that's Amber's, isn't it? Hayes nodded. Which means Ryan had access to something she wrote, or Ward's eyes widened, or Amber wrote it after she disappeared. The possibility settled over them like thick dust. Sheriff, Ward whispered, we need to search the school. Top to bottom. They started in the music wing, moving through classrooms, practice rooms, storage closets. Each space felt colder than the last. Instruments sat untouched, chairs stacked neatly, as if waiting for a class that would never come. But when they reached the old recording studio, a tiny room used for student podcasts years ago, Hayes stopped. The door was slightly ajar. Inside, the dusty soundboard lights blinked red. Ward's breath hitched. Sheriff, that shouldn't be on. Hayes pushed the door open. The small studio smelled faintly of old wires and something else, a metallic tang, beneath the dust. On the soundboard was a plugged-in microphone, still alive, still warm. Hayes approached it slowly. Ward scanned the room with her flashlight. Someone was just here. Hayes pressed a finger to the microphone mesh. It vibrated softly, active, hot, recently used. He clicked the playback button. A hiss of silence filled the room. Then, breathing, soft, uneven, close, and then a whisper. Sheriff? Ward froze. That's Sheriff. That's her. That's Amber. Hayes didn't move. The whisper was too close, too direct, too aware of being recorded. Please, the voice whispered. I'm still here. Hayes stepped back from the microphone, his chest tightening, because something in the recording didn't match. The voice sounded like Amber's same cadence, same tremble, but the breathing was off, too controlled, too measured, as if it were being performed. Turn it off, Wood said sharply. Hayes did. The room fell silent again. Ward whispered, Sheriff, is it him? Is it Ryan pretending to be her again? Hayes shook his head. No, the intonation is different. Then who? Hayes didn't answer, because the truth hung heavy. Someone else knew Amber's voice well enough to replicate it. He stared at the blinking soundboard. This isn't about Ryan, Hayes murmured. This is about someone else manipulating the narrative. Ward frowned. Manipulating how? Think about it, Hayes said, pacing. Fake pause, planted evidence, voices mimicked, messages that contradict each other, broken timelines. Ward's eyes widened. Someone has been orchestrating both sides. Exactly. Hayes looked back at the microphone. And someone wants us to believe Amber is still here. Ward exhaled slowly. Sheriff, if someone is trying to make us chase ghosts, we need to get out of this school. But Hayes wasn't ready. Not yet. Amber spent time in this building, he said. If she were hiding something, if she left something for us, this is where it would be. Ward lifted her flashlight toward a dusty shelf lined with old audio tapes. Each was labeled with dates from years ago, but one tape stood out. It had no label. Ward reached for it. "Sheriff, this wasn't here during the last school inventory." I checked. Hayes took the tape and examined it. "Let's play it." They inserted the unlabeled tape. Static, then footsteps, slow, dragging, then something that made Ward grip Hayes's arm. A girl crying, soft, muffled, trying not to be heard. Then a voice, Amber's voice, but this time not a whisper, not a mimicry. Raw, terrified. "Please don't. I didn't say anything." Ward's knees almost buckled. Hayes stopped breathing. Amber's voice trembled again. "Dad, please don't. I promise I won't tell." Silence. Then a loud thud, as if someone had hit the wall. Ward's trembling hand covered her mouth. "Oh my God!" Amber's sobbing grew quieter, more desperate. Then a man's voice, deep, low, strained, so faint they almost missed it. "You should have listened." Hayes slammed the stop button. Ward staggered backward. "Sheriff, that was her father." Hayes nodded slowly, painfully. Ward shook her head. "But this doesn't make sense. Why would he hurt her? Why would he?" Hayes wasn't listening. He leaned closer to the soundboard, studying the equipment. "The microphone," he said. Ward frowned. "What about it?" "It's a school-issued mic. The tape we just heard wasn't recorded here." Ward blinked. "Meaning what?" Hayes held the tape up to the dim light. "Meaning someone recorded this somewhere else and brought it here to be found." Ward stiffened. "Sheriff, we're being led." Hayes nodded. "And manipulated." Ward looked around the dark studio. "By who?" Hayes stared at the microphone. "Someone who knows how to record, how to edit, how to stitch audio. Someone who knows this school intimately, and someone who wants to redirect blame," Ward said. "Exactly," Ward's voice cracked. "Sheriff, what if Amber isn't the only victim? What if someone else is using all of us as bait?" Hayes didn't answer, because the lights at the far end of the hallway flickered. Once, twice, then snapped off. They were not alone in the school. Ward whispered, "Sheriff, we need to leave now." Hayes nodded. "Move." They slipped out of the recording studio and back into the hallway. The storm outside had darkened the windows, turning them into mirrors that reflected faint images of the two officers. But beyond those reflections, Hayes thought he saw something move. A shadow, a figure, someone watching. Ward gripped her weapon. "Where?" Hayes shook his head. "I don't know. But someone's here." They reached the main corridor. The locker rows were pitch black. Then the PA system crackled. Ward almost screamed. A voice came through the old speakers. A girl's voice. Amber's. But this time there was no softness. No plea. Just a single sentence. "You're both too late." The speakers shut off with a pop. Ward whispered, "Sheriff, what does that mean?" Hayes's voice was barely audible. "It means she's still here." Ward stared at him. "Alive?" Hayes didn't blink. "In this building, or what's left of her." Ward shuddered. "Sheriff, what do we do?" Hayes stared down the dark hallway. "We follow the message." Their flashlights cut across the abandoned corridor as they walked deeper into the school, a place that now felt alive, breathing, listening. Something creaked above them. Something whispered behind them. The storm outside rattled the windows. They reached the old art room. The door was open, not wide just enough. Hayes pushed it. Inside, the room was lit dimly by a single overhead projector. On the wall, a still image shone, a picture of Amber Cordell, but not her school portrait. This was a picture Hayes had never seen. Amber in the woods, her face covered in dirt, a bruise on her cheek, eyes wide with fear. Ward gasped. "Sheriff, someone took this," Hayes whispered. "This was taken on the night she disappeared." Ward covered her mouth. "Sheriff, we have to." But she stopped mid-sentence, because the projector slid to the next image. Amber, tied to a chair, head down. Hayes stepped forward, heart hammering so hard he could barely hear. The next slide appeared, a shadow behind Amber, human, tall, holding something. Ward whispered, "Sheriff, is that?" Hayes nodded. "It's him, Amber's father." The final slide appeared. A sentence in red letters, "Find what he hid." Ward trembled. "Sheriff, we need a warrant. Backup, the FBI. Everyone." Hayes nodded slowly. Because truth was no longer hiding. Truth was screaming. A metallic clang echoed from the hallway. They turned sharply. A figure stood at the far end. Hayes lifted his flashlight, but the figure stepped back into the dark. Ward whispered, "Sheriff, who was that?" Hayes didn't answer, because the figure didn't walk. It glided. And because as the thunder rumbled outside, the PA system crackled alive one last time with a voice that wasn't Amber, wasn't Ryan, a man's voice, deep, measured, controlled. Amber's father. "You shouldn't have come here." The PA cut. The room plunged into silence. Hayes whispered, "Deputy, run." The storm outside howled as they sprinted down the hallway, the building groaning under the weight of secrets finally clawing their way to the surface. The flashlights trembled in their hands, bouncing off walls that suddenly felt too close, too alive. Behind them, echoing through the school, came heavy footsteps, chasing them, hunting them. The screen cuts to black. Some recordings tell the truth. Others bury it. In Willow Creek, the last one does both.